Steve Cohen is causing trouble on Twitter. Let's talk about it. Everybody, welcome aboard here to the Sports Talk Nation. Michael Cohen here with you, and we have a little bit of Met drama to discuss here on the day before Thanksgiving. First of all, indeed, happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Obviously, for a lot of families, a lot of people finally getting back to normal this year. A lot of people finally getting a chance to go back and hang out with families in person, to do it on Zoom as we start to come out of this pandemic. But today, I want to talk about a story that I didn't think we were going to talk about today on November 24th in 2021, and that is the continuing bizarre story and nature of this Mets offseason. And this one all relating to a tweet sent out by Steve Cohen this morning in regards to the free agency of former Met, now St. Louis Cardinal pitcher, Steven Matz. And here's the tweet. Everyone has seen it at this point. I'm going to post it right here. Cohen putting up there that he's, quote unquote, "I'm not happy with this morning. I've never seen such unprofessional behavior exhibited by a player's agent. I guess words and promises do not matter." And of course, that started a whole fever pitch this morning. Everybody retweeting it. Everybody trying to figure out what was going on. And give credit to Joel Sherman of the New York Post for going out there, calling Cohen and finding out what this was all about. And this is all relating to Steven Matz, who the Mets believed was interested in coming back. And apparently, if you listen to all the reports that have come out, that the Mets were approached by Matz, his representatives, and eventually, as it's also been reported by Andy Martino of SNY, apparently Matz had a video conference call on Zoom with Steve Cohen, and the Mets got the sense that, hey, maybe there's a chance that we could have a reunion here with Steven Matz very soon, and that all, fell apart. As we all know, Matz decided instead, I'm going to go to the Cardinals. Instead, signs a 4-year, $44 million deal that could be as much as $48 million to pitch in St. Louis. There's a lot of things here that I have to say about this. One, Steven Matz was not a great pitcher here with the New York Mets. He was very much an average pitcher, more of a number 5 starter when he was here. He was 4 games under 500. He had an ERA over 4.5. He wasn't that great here in New York. And I understand he's a Long Island kid, grew up a Met fan. I totally understand that. But it's not like the Mets were trying to bring back Jerry Koosman here. Okay, this was not a great pitcher here with Steven Matz with the New York Mets. He had a great year last year with Toronto. He needed to get out of New York, and he pitched well. And now he goes to St. Louis with that great fan base over there. That's probably a good setting for him. That being said, for Cohen, and this is the thing with Cohen right now, is that he has a tendency to jump on Twitter and to use it as his bully pulpit. I've mentioned that many times before when discussing the issue that he had with Mike Puma's article that criticized his ownership and had unnamed sources, and Cohen was going to give out a award to any fan who could find the source, and they would get tickets in the owner's box. These are things like this that kind of really bug me as a Met fan, and should bug a lot of Met fans, with the way Cohen handles himself on Twitter and social media. There was no need to go out there and kind of release his frustrations in this manner on social media. And as a result, it gets a response, of course, from Matz's agent, who goes out there and sends a statement to Ken Rosenthal of Fox Sports. Says, "We are aware of Mr. Cohen's tweet. It's unfortunate he chose to take his frustrations to Twitter. I will not do the same, and instead will take a high road, which is consistent with both my character and the character of our client, Steven Matz. Grew up a Met fan, loved his time there. As a result of all that, there was a strong pull to return to the Mets, but ultimately made a decision he felt that was best for his family." And you can certainly understand that. Here's the thing that Steve Cohen has to understand. Free agents are going to use the Mets and New York, and even the Yankees for that matter. They're going to use the New York teams for leverage. It's happened many, many times before. It'll happen many, many times again in the future. It might even happen later this week for that matter. Free agents are going to use the Mets. That's just the way it is. They're going to use the Yankees. It's the cachet, the big market they will use in order to get a bigger contract somewhere else where they really want to pitch. That's just the way it is. Maybe Matz didn't get a good vibe from Steve Cohen. We don't know. The fact is, he's not coming back here to pitch for the Mets, and that's fine. And if I'm the Mets, that's fine too. You can move on. You have bigger names out there in the free agent market, whether it's be Kevin Gausman, whether it be Marcus Stroman, who the Mets really need to find a way to get back in fold here in the camp. There are bigger names out there, more reliable pitchers out there than a Steven Matz, for that matter. So I think from the Mets standpoint, you have to move on. And from Cohen's standpoint, please get off Twitter. Get off Twitter. And I know that he said last week during the introductory press conference for Billy Epler that he would try to tone it down a little bit on Twitter. He's really got to tone it down big time, if not just get off entirely, because it makes him, when he tweets things out like this and tweets out these kind of frustrations that he has, it makes the Mets look small. It really does. It makes him look small, makes the Mets look small. And if I were an agent or a player or a free agent for that matter, or an agent for a player, I would probably think twice before wanting to deal with the Mets because of that kind of behavior by the owner. Where if negotiations don't go well, is he going to go on Twitter and blow me up? You can't have that. So I think that this needs to be, in many respects, a hard lesson for Cohen and for the Mets to say, hey, this stuff happens. This is baseball. It's a dirty business. Players come and go. Free agents test the waters everywhere before they decide where they want to go. It's part of the process. Move on. Don't take it personally. And unfortunately for Cohen, he took it personally in this case. Why else would he tweet something like that? So move on. And I hope for Cohen that we don't see tweets like that again, for that matter. I mean, I can't believe I'm saying that. This is a billionaire owner. He should know better than this. And the Mets have enough problems as it is. Okay, yes, you lost Aaron Loop to a 2-year deal. You lost Noah Syndergaard, who decided to take $3 million more with the Angels. And, you really didn't lose Matz. I mean, he wasn't with the team this past year anyway. He was a free agent. But the fact is, you haven't signed anybody significant yet. Focused on signing players and get off Twitter. Got a long way to go. And folks, who knows? I know it's kind of panic time right now for a lot of players, a lot of teams, because we're approaching the uncertainty of this lockout, whether it's going to happen or not. And it sounds like it's going to be a lockout very, very soon here, so that's going to have an impact here on free agency. But that's what the Mets should first focus on. Trying to get some of these name players, get something in here that you can have a roster that can be competitive. And the Mets don't even have a manager right now, so they got a lot of work to do. And then they need to stop worrying about some of these trite things that happen during the free agent process, for that matter. So those are some of my thoughts here, folks, on what's going on here with this Mets Twitter situation with Steve Cohen. Anyway, folks, take care. We'll talk to you next time. Remember, like and subscribe here on the Sports Talk Nation. Remember, like and subscribe here to the Sports Talk Nation here on YouTube, and follow us on the social media at OpenMicNJ, on Twitter, Facebook.com/OpenMicProgram. We'll talk to you next time.